So I thought about a couple of different ways to start off this video, what to tell you about the slider that is essential. Great build quality, smoothness, all that stuff. But here's as simple a way as I can put it. Ever since I started using this slider for this review, it has been with me whenever I leave home to shoot video. I don't even think about it, I just bring it. And that, more than anything, tells me it's an excellent product. So, to start this off, let's check out some shots. So how smooth is the slider? It is very smooth. You can move, start and stop very precisely and super smoothly, no problemo. However, precision does take a little hit when using a heavy camera like my full frame a7 III with the 24-70 2.8 GM, in the form of falling vertical lines and an off horizon on the far ends of the slider's reach. Since the slider moves slowly, it is usually not noticeable. Some of the shots you saw before had that problem, but I bet most of you did not notice anything. It is a slider though that's perfect for the APS-C form factor, point-and-shoot cameras and smartphones. With my Sony a6400 and an APS-C lens that I did most of the shots with, the effects of falling vertical lines and an off horizon are still there, a little, but are negligible in my opinion. For the slider itself, I did a couple of product close-ups with a magic arm and my phone, and that worked perfectly. For any kind of tabletop stuff, this slider is freaking magic. Let's check out what's in the box and then look at other gear I combined the slider with. We get the slider itself, a pouch to put it in, a 1/4-20 to 3/8 inch adapter and an Allen wrench. As a separate item, you can get the so-called Easylock base from Zeapon, with a small ball head and a quick release plate and mechanism on the bottom of the base. Slider plus base still fit the pouch, but the ball head has to be screwed on or off when you carry slider and base inside the pouch. Now the ball head, for sure, is a quality ball head, but it is rather small, has no separate panorama mechanism and no quick release function. That is stuff I want when I work. So I did a couple of shots with a standard ball head, which worked just fine. But then I pretty quickly put a QR plate on top because I didn't want to screw the whole camera on and off. But in the end, I opted for my favorite budget ball head. Kuleohata or Highlights E2. Built like a tank, extremely heavy duty, excellent locking mechanism, super strong, separate panorama function and a quick release. Now something I really like about this slider is the fact that with 3 different Allen wrenches you can basically almost completely take this thing apart or just readjust the tension, because all moving parts come loose at least a bit over time. Entropy, it seems, gets us all. So being able to tighten everything up when things are too loose is key when you extensively use a slider. Imagine traveling and something, whatever it is, blocking the sliding mechanism, and you can't reach it from outside. If you can't open the damn thing, you're effed, essentially. With this slider though, you got a fighting chance at repairing it in a timely fashion and adjusting the clearances of the parts with the Allen wrenches. That is very, very, very good. It also has a little foam pad that is built in right there to prevent small objects from blocking the mechanism in the first place. Overall, the whole thing, base, slider, ball head, quality parts. Nothing feels cheap. Even the locking mechanism feels really, really solid. Now all of this should be the case because this is not a cheap slider either. Depending on where you look, roughly $200 for the slider and roughly $80 for the base. Bundled about $270-ish, I think. Don't quote me on that. Current prices, check the affiliate links in the description. But that is the ballpark idea when it comes to price. So you are getting your money's worth. Alright, time to win a slider. Thanks to Amy from Zeapon, who arranged for me to get 2 sliders and 2 Easylock bases, I can now give the second combo to one of you. And I will just call it the Zeapon Tube Noob Content Challenge. And here's how it works. Create a piece of content in which you do something nice for a stranger. Because that is what Zeapon did for me. I know that is work that isn't just like, comment, subscribe, but I want people to create. And I want you to do something nice for a stranger. Because in creating, we exercise the most unique and rewarding human ability, and, at least in my book, nothing can transform us like deeply felt gratitude. And there can never be enough gratitude on the planet really. So, might I again stress the stranger aspect of the challenge. Because if you do something nice for someone that doesn't know you at all, it is completely unexpected and even more beautiful, I think. You can do an Instagram post, you can do a YouTube video, you can do a Facebook post, whatever suits you, that's up to you. Just be kind enough to link to Zeapon in some way and explain the challenge. I'm not looking for production value, and a 10-minute YouTube video doesn't have a better chance than an Instagram post. Just do what you feel like. What I'm looking for is something real, something heartfelt. Could be the smallest thing. And even if you don't win the slider, you win because you have created something of value, done something nice for someone, and literally made the world a little better. Sounds corny, but it's true. So, from the time this video is published, you have exactly 14 days to create your piece of content. Either link your content in the commentary section of this video or send me something via the channel email right here. After the 14 days have elapsed, I will check out all your entries within a week, I hope, and then announce the winner on the channel. Whoever wins, I will contact, take care of the logistics, and I will send the slider and the base to you free of charge. Regular speed with tracking, not expedited shipping though, because depending on where you are on Earth, that can be ridiculously expensive. So it might take a while, but you will get your slider and base. So, in the name of Zeapon and myself, I say, happy creating. I have also used it in the rain, dried by itself and still works like a champ. I wouldn't do that with most motorized units, or anything really that has electronic parts. But with this one, when push comes to shove and you need to get the shot, rain or not, you can go for it. Now the Easylock base, separately available or bundled, is meant to be used for any close to the ground shot, with a relatively flat surface of course, or tabletop scenarios. So if you're into super close to the ground shots or tabletop stuff, you might consider checking that thing out too. But before you go get one, here's some inside info. It is a bit tricky to use sometimes, because except if you go super slowly, you're pretty likely to slide the whole thing instead of just the slider. Unless you apply pressure from above. Now, where do you apply that pressure? It's not as easy as it sounds, because all you have really is the base. You can't apply pressure to the slider because you will tilt it. So here's how I do it. I use these two legs and set them like this. And then I will use these two and set them like this. And then I can use the slider while fixing the base in place with my other hand. This way you're also able to move the slider faster if you need to. The ends of the legs lock in place like this, have a rubber tip, and you can adjust the height a bit using a simple thread mechanism. Again, all moving parts, all clearances can be adjusted via the right Allen wrench. It comes with its own QR plate that you can attach your choice of QR plate to, and the slider, including the QR plate, and in this case my QR plate, still fits the pouch. As far as accessories go, I watched some videos where they use the Cobra monopod base with this slider. In my experience, those two are not a good match. The legs of the Cobra base are just too short for the slider. On the far end of the slider's range, you have to apply lots of pressure to the Cobra for the slider not to tilt. I just hate to worry about that. I mostly use it with a versatile tripod. In my case, I can remove the center column to get pretty low. If I need lower, I use the Easylock base. So if you're looking for an overall smaller setup, a mini tripod like this, for example, is a good choice. Its legs are long enough to span the complete slider range, and you can still get pretty low. I have not used that one myself, but I think it would certainly make for a better choice than the Cobra. Now the fluid head I use has a bubble level built in. Same with the E2 ball head. Now if your tripod or gear doesn't have a bubble level, you can use one of these tiny ones to level the slider correctly, or your camera for that matter. Those are cheap and you can carry them in your pocket very easily. Now when using it, in my experience, pushing the ball head with 2 fingers gave me the best results, with the least amount of failed shots because my fingers or my hand or my wrist touched the slider mid-shot somewhere. To get the perfect start and stop, keep the finger on the ball head for a couple of seconds before releasing completely. Because upon release, usually you get a tiny micro movement that you might not notice on your tiny camera screen when reviewing your footage, but later on in post on a big screen it might be visible. Now using the full range of the slider with, let's call it a medium speed, you'll get a shot duration of approximately 15 to 20 seconds. Slower is of course possible, and as far as speed is concerned, probably this I would call maximum, which gives you like a 1 to 2 second duration shot. But faster than like 2 seconds is hardly possible. That seems to be the limit with the slider, because faster than that and the rubber band starts to slip on the wheel. You can also use the slider for foreground reveals if you're shooting at 35 to 50 millimeters on full frame or the equivalent on APS-C, which is cool for narrative projects. Also, if you just tilt the slider and basically let gravity do its thing, it's going to do a pretty good job and give you a really nice shot on its own, which is a pretty cool thing if you're a lone gunman or gal. You can somewhat fake a motorized unit. Of course, this only works if the tilt is steep enough. So it really depends on the shot and your subject whether this makes even sense. But it is an option. Now in general, when using the slider, you will want to be close to something, either the ground or a foreground subject or the main subject, so you can best sell the idea of movement. Because on a regular tripod, without anything to slide up against or behind of, it is kind of hard to sell the fact that you're moving, because after all, and although it slides twice its size, it is a pretty compact slider. So if you're looking for a portable, robust and easy to use slider, for traveling especially, or product shots, for an APS-C or point-and-shoot camera and or your smartphone, this one comes highly recommended. Value for the money, great product. I'm using this thing until it dies of old age. So that's that video. If you liked it, if you found it helpful, please make sure to leave a thumbs up, it's greatly appreciated. Any kind of comment or feedback is welcome, and I'll try to answer as quickly as possible. All the tech that I've used in this video is linked in the description. As always, thank you so much for your time, thank you for watching, and hopefully see you again soon.